you know, I have banged my head quite heavily driving one of these when you undo a seatbelt when you're upside down. Well, hi, I'm John. This is my 94 Porsche 968 Clubsport. It's not quite a standard car, fair few modifications, mostly aimed at making it good fun on track. I'd like to show you around and show some of the stuff that's been done to it.
And now we've been meaning to catch up for a while because you are the leader of the Transaxle club here in Melbourne for the Porsche club.
That sounds a bit grand. I am the joint captain of the register for the club. Joint, as me and Wayne. I've been quite active, I suppose, in just trying to raise the profile of the Transaxle cars a little bit. Perhaps aren't quite as well appreciated as the 911s. And they are very capable and good fun cars. They're still a little bit more affordable. To get into a nice 911, you're looking at a left-hand drive import and you're still getting close to 100,000 probably on a car.
On a good day. Yeah. And even though prices have softened, we've still got a fair price to pay. But we're here today with a 968 Clubsport.
Yes.
We talked in the car and we have had a little bit of a drive, so there'll be a bit of a mix in this video of kind of what's gone on. There's a few varieties of Clubsports and how they all come. This one has got an enormous sunroof and a few little tweaks to it. I do love the wheels.
Yes, so there's one of the starting of some of my my modifications to the car, I suppose. They seem to suit it quite nicely.
We talked about in the car that you can't really open them from the rear. I didn't even know that, and now I've looked at it, I'm like, yes, that is a problem.
There is absolutely not, you cannot open them from outside. Standard car will have an electric motor there and a button to press to flip it open. The only way to get into one of these is we have a little lever where the rear seat might have been, and that's it.
And there we go, and that's how you pop it open.
And I'm glad it worked.
It's got mounts for the harnesses.
Yes.
Those seats are lovely. Now they're not the original those seats, are they?
Sort of. Yes, so the car came with colour-coded hardback seats as standard.
Yeah.
And if you had a Club Sport, you'd have to specify the luxury seats if you didn't want to have those in. These aren't the original ones for the car because the original ones would have been red-backed. The guy that did all the work and did the modifications that we'll come to put his own seats in it and did a few other questionable styling changes.
Okay.
And then further down the line, someone's bought this back and found some original seats, but unfortunately
they're white back. So we might go for a spin.
Yes, let's see where we can find. I'm not an expert in the area, unfortunately.
Well, that's okay, because I'm not an expert in any area and get lost all the time. We're in a 968 Clubsport.
Yes.
But not your standard 968 Clubsport. Were they all manual?
Yes.
All manual. So 6-speed manual, but you've got some funny dial up there, which we'll show people in a moment.
Yeah, there's a few things happening, I suppose.
And it sounds a little bit different.
Yeah. Not the most relaxed touring car compared to a standard 968, which is a fantastic GT.
Yeah.
This is somewhat different, and this was built in the UK by someone who wanted a track car. Most of its modifications are towards fairly serious track. You'll see how it feels, and I apologise in the head that we've got a wheel bearing that needs doing, so it's a little bit noisy.
Okay. Yeah, because it has a decent rumble in the rear. Of course, they all kind of do, but I've been in a few 968s.
I think
no, not necessarily Club Sports, but this has got a little bit more about it.
This has got a custom exhaust on it now as well. So yes, that's got a few things going. So back in the day, the guy that did this used to track his 964 and wanted something different, and went out looking for the best Club Sport he could find. And he found this one, which is a pretty minimum spec Club Sport car. Club Sport was developed by Porsche essentially just as a cheaper car, because the 968 got too expensive in the UK and Europe, and people weren't buying them, so they made a stripped out car.
Yeah.
So they took all the luxury stuff out. So we've got keep fit windows, manual mirrors.
Yeah.
There's no form of rear lock. There's no way to get into the back of the car from outside.
No, I didn't know that.
They reduced the size of the alternator, the wiring harness, took out sound deadening.
Yeah.
Took out the rear seats, put in these lightweight seats. So they started to do some things like how can we make it lighter as well. So
yeah, because I didn't even think about the lock. Never mind the alternator.
Yes. So and then
I guess because if it doesn't have all the bigger, and therefore you can have a slightly lighter one as well.
Yeah, so I mean, they did lots of things just to make a lighter car, but really the driving force was to make it cheaper as well. They did all of that. Sales are okay. In the UK, they worked out that everybody was speccing all the luxury stuff back into it, and as a Brit, you'd know that a UK car isn't a car unless it has a sunroof in it.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this one got the sunroof specced in. So that stops it from being pure club sport in some people's eyes.
I see why people would go, you can't have a race car with a sunroof.
But there are so many. That's what I talk about, high and low spec cars.
Yeah, I get what you mean now.
And it got bad enough in the UK that they actually brought out the UK only Sport, which is a club sport with all the luxury pack stuff back into it again, but still cheaper than the standard coupe.
Wow.
This car was built in the UK about 2004. I've actually got magazine articles where the guy was showing it off. I needed a lot of things to the car, but the main one was putting in all the adjustable suspension. So essentially it's got the MO30 equivalent.
Okay.
So adjustable suspension, bigger anti-roll bars. It's got 993 turbo big brakes on it.
Oh, okay.
Got limited slip diff, probably a quaif I would expect being a UK. Everyone expects a Club Sport to be the MO30 pack and have the limited slip diff and things in it.
Yeah.
That's actually still quite rare. So this was all done, tuned. I've got some dyno sheets showing it running 350 brake horsepower.
That's a lot.
They had further development done. It's all done by Ninemeister in the UK.
Well known, good reputation.
Well known, reputation, yes, that seems to be okay. There's a few questions about this whole car actually, which we'll come to.
Yeah, okay.
So I've got some later ones, more development done. I've actually got a dyno chart showing this car running 480 brake horsepower. Now we don't think that's an honest chart.
Reliability in 480, surely.
Oh, well, we'll definitely come to that bit.
Oh, is there? I was going to say, surely there's some mechanical problems that occur there.
The guy who did this sold it to another guy. He took it round Donington Park on track day, blew the engine up.
Okay.
The engine was meant to be race tuned. It didn't seem like it probably had the level of prep that the people said it had. It got taken to another engine builder who got slagged off because he was only dynoing into the high 200 brake horsepowers.
Yeah, okay.
But they found that probably was an honest one. They worked out the dyno graph was an exact match for what you might see if you put a 911 turbo on a dyno. And one reason was that perhaps someone had spent an awful lot of money on a car and was given a graph to show what he wanted to see, not necessarily what was happening. But after the blow up, this engine was rebuilt. It's now only got a 2.7 litre block instead of the standard 3.
Okay.
It's got all 944 turbo internals in that, so it's a lot more capable of holding this level of power. After a while, the guys looked to sell it, put it into one of the car specialists, and up this way, I reckon. And it sat there for a very long time. And one reason was that the car got a reputation for being a little bit blow-uppy. Everybody knew that it died at Donington.
And that reputation can linger with a car a little bit sometimes.
So that's the car for a very long time. It was a specialist car, sort of mould or something like that for a long time. Sat outside and was just rescued just before they went bust and everything got seized.
Okay.
So it just escaped that. But from that point on, it just went from collector to collector, not doing anything and doing 100 miles a year. I had a Australian delivered 968. In fact, you'd have seen it when we went to Lang Lang, the year that had the Lancia Stratus replica.
Oh yes, I remember. Yep.
I was there for that, and I was buying stuff up for it, but it was a high kilometre engine, so I got a new engine I got a supercharger kit to put on it. All the things I had, adjustable suspension, all waiting to go on the car. Broke the windscreen. Coming back from having that fitted, someone thought they could beat me across a roundabout and the car got written off. So suddenly I'm now left with a written off car.
Oh, so
my grey one got written off. This turned up in the UK with Phil Raby, who's a well-known in the Porsche circles. He used to edit some of the Porsche magazines and things as well.
Yeah, their surname rings a bell.
And yeah, he had this there. The pricing wise was a bit expensive, but it had everything done to it that I was looking to do to a car. And I still had, I was able to, so I thought, well, it makes sense, I'm just going to import this car in with the spec that I want to have. Just got the car, tried to drive it home. It was a horrible pig to drive. Had nothing, that wouldn't rev past 5,000 RPM, ran really, really poorly. This is not what I was expecting to get. When Phil dropped the car off at the harbour, he said he was, you know, fantastic drive down. Somewhere along the ship, something happened. I got the car here, we took a while to work out what the problem was. The cat had completely melted down, so I had essentially a blocked exhaust. Just melted inside and just clogged itself. I'm only seeing 195 kilowatts at the wheels, which is quite a bit down on what it should be capable of doing, and we'll get there at some point.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because it picks up.
Certainly when you want it to go, it can do so.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of club track events, early entree stuff, and the mentors have been quite surprised when they're getting this, that occasionally we're trundling along like this to start with, and then we get into the revs and they go, oh, it's got a bit of, you know, it's got a bit.
Yeah, because she'll rev to 6.5.
I've milked up to the 7.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got strengthened internals. There's no rev limit on it.
Yeah.
So
no rev limiter on it.
Well, not that I've found, or my mechanical sympathies had me change up before I found it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But yes, it's been quite good fun. I'm getting close to the kind of times I need to do for the modified class that I'm hoping to enter the club, so I'm probably going to do a season next year with it.
Yeah.
And drive the car like it should be driven. Although some people say with 30,000 miles on the clock, perhaps you should be wrapping it in cotton wool and letting it appreciate. But that's not my way. Cars are to have fun in and drive and enjoy.
And it is modified.
And it's modified, and many would say that I'd probably be worth more with the mods taken off. And I came upon the 944s, and you know, this fantastic handling car. And
yeah.
I thought, well, that sounds interesting. And found a cheap one out of country New South Wales. Started looking through the car, found that it was going to be a car that had to go through the whole thing just to make sure I was right. So the seat runner had broken on the seat, but to fix the problem of reaching the pedals, they put screwed wooden blocks to the pedals so they could still reach it.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Feels a bit Indiana Jonesy, that does.
that's I'm trying to organise some form of track day for some of these newer, younger Transaxle owners. I know one reason for something like today was the fact that I've noticed 944s with P plates on them and the like. You know, they're going into younger ownership.
And the Transaxle community in the Melbourne Porsche scene and Melbourne Porsche Club is growing.
Yes, I think, and I'm trying to grow it and trying to, you know, I'm trying these new events with the club.
Handles well as well, doesn't it? Look at that.
Yes, when it starts giving a little bit, it starts revealing its true character.
Yeah, it does. That's quite a nice sound out of the exhaust as well. Like
it's an interesting rasp.
Yeah, it isn't. Yeah, rasp is a good description.
Rasp is good. The 3,000 RPM drone's a little bit unfortunate. I don't get one without the other, I suspect.
Yeah, that's probably the challenge.
4,000 RPM where it all starts.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And I was watching that because I was expecting it to probably kick in a little bit earlier, but that 4,000's where it's like, oh, now we've got some guts in us.
Yeah, and you can see from I've got a boost gauge and stuff. It's not really creating very much boost until that point.
So what supercharger does it run?
So this has got a Rotrex unit. So it's a centrifugal supercharger. So it's essentially a belt-driven turbo. Think of it.
Okay.
Which is why the character of it's fairly like a turbo in itself.
Yeah, because I noticed you talk about boost, and I was like, oh, how is that? But it does feel like it comes on like a turbo.
But I would like to try and bring that down to about 3,000 RPM when it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Which will really, especially on track, will help with a bit more punch out of corners and the like as well.
Yeah, because I'd imagine at 4...
It's quite... a challenge to keep the car above 4,000 RPM.
We've moved locations because we were just getting told off.
We got moved on.
We got moved on, yeah.
Yes.
So, which is probably a nicer spot just here. Shows it off a little bit better. Colour really pops, and big fan of those wheels.
Yeah, I was actually looking, if you looked at Paul's Momo car with the heritage wheels.
Yes.
Love those flat fronted wheels.
Yeah.
Love the roof flat wheel.
Yep.
So I was essentially looking for something along those lines, but these came up and I thought, oh, they look interesting, and they were affordable, which isn't an easy thing to find sometimes in the Porsche market.
Yeah.
And actually now they're on the car, they suit it quite nicely, I feel.
No, I think that pops.
I think it helps that they're not black as well. They've got they're an anthracite element to them.
Yeah, because you kind of lose a black wheel, and on here, I think, yeah, you're right. Shall we pop the hood, take a look?
Certainly can do that. There's a fair amount of custom work in there.
So hood, yes, there is a fair amount of custom work. Hood popped, and there she is.
Excuse the blue silicone joiners. They're not really to my taste, but we'll get to that at some point.
Yeah, work in progress, that's okay.
Let's be honest, that's making it go as we want it to go is far more important than making it look right. That can come second. So what we've got hiding under here, where you may have found an air conditioning compressor.
Yes.
We have a Rotrex centrifugal supercharger, easy for me to say. So it's essentially
So it's belt driven, you said, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where's that? Is that down?
So you've got
down in there.
Well, you've got the big belt coming off here.
Yes.
So it's a 8-rib belt, but I reckon it's probably the original one as well. So I'm probably getting a little bit of belt slip, but I think belt.
It didn't sound like it when we were in the car.
If you look at the dyno, right at the top of the rev range, it's starting to, but it should still be boosting. It's falling off.
Okay.
So we've got a custom intake hiding underneath the bottom there, which you can't see.
Yeah.
Feeding the Rotrex supercharger, which is all self-contained. It's got its own oil system. So we've got a secondary oil cooler in the front here to cool the supercharger oil.
There we go. I didn't see that tucked right down there.
Then obviously we're running it through an intercooler back into the engine.
Yep.
Old Motec M4 looking after it all. And you know, I have banged my head quite heavily driving one of these when you undo a seatbelt when you're upside down.